Okay, now we're at a point where we need to go ahead and get this file that we've created into the Cricut software, which is actually a web application, so we can go ahead and prepare our shirt and get ready to cut out our vinyl. Now, why do I use this versus Cricut? Well, I use Illustrator because I've been using it for a long time. It is the best drawing tool on the planet. It's great, it works, I'm comfortable with it, and I got industry certification in it. So it's one of those applications that it's, I understand the zen of how it works. Now, the Cricut Design Space software is excellent too. And if you don't have Illustrator, you can still do a lot of really cool things in the Cricut Design Space. But how do I get this file into the Cricut Design Space? Well, the Cricut Design Space will not take a straight Illustrator file, so we have to go and convert this to a different kind of file. However, before I convert it, there's some things I need to clean up. I no longer need the navy blue layer, so I'm going to go ahead and select that, even with the lock on, and I'm going to delete it. And do you want to delete this layer? Yes, I do. So there it is. It's gone. Now, I've already saved the file. And let's do it one more time. Actually, I'm just going to leave that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and save it one more time. So I save my file, and my file is saved. Now I need to save it as a different file. So I'll come down here and select the File menu and go down and say Save As. Now, it comes up with Adobe Illustrator, but if I click on the Save As file type, notice it's got this one here called SVG, and there's SVG compressed. Well, we're going to work with SVG. What SVG stands for is Simple Vector Graphics. It's a great file format. A lot of products like Inkscape use it as its native file format. So I can take Inkscape files directly into Illustrator and Illustrator files directly into Inkscape. So I'm going to select this, and I'm giving it a name. I've already gone out and created one already just to test it. So I'm going to call this one Florida Blue T-shirt, just the same one I've got. And I'm going to hit Save. Now it's going to come up and ask you some things. Now, normally it'll come up and ask you for 1.1. I just always go back to the old standard format. Now, Cricut also will take in a DXF file. It'll also take in, other types of files like PNG files and JPEGs and stuff. But I like working with vectors, so I just go ahead and say SVG, take that, and we'll go ahead and save it. Now, once it's saved, I'm going to go down here and go to my web browser. And actually I'm going to go to my desktop. So I'll go to my desktop, do a right mouse click on the taskbar and say Show Desktop. And there's my Cricut Design Space software. You can essentially call it straight from the web or from a browser, but if you double click on it, it'll automatically open your browser and go out there and say, hey, I'm going to load up and I'm going to bring you into Design Space. Now, it shows me that I'm already logged in. Now, let's pretend like actually I'm not logged in. So let's go ahead and log in. So I'll select login, and I'll give it my YouTube login. So do that. Yeah, I got a funny Gmail account. So go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and hit this next one. Actually, I don't think it is my Gmail account. Let's do that again. Let's try that again. I haven't been in, Let's try that. Let's go to next. Oops, I guess it is looking for the Gmail account. Okay. Oh, duh. It says log into Gmail. Yep. Sometimes you just don't learn, Platt. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, give it my password. And we shall get in. Okay, yeah, I got it. That sounds good. Oh, sorry. I'm already in it. So here we go. My bad. Get out of Google. Let's go back over here. Anyway, comes up, says hello Richard. Now on your computers that we use the Cricuts on, it'll automatically be logged into my account. Now you can see some various projects that I've created. I went ahead and tested this out again. I've got a bazillion projects that I've already created. I'll come up here and show you some of the stuff I've already done. I've created hearts, I've created gift tags, dinosaur slashes for my grandson, stars, maps of Japan and Florida. Yes, that is a fish coffin. I took my Cricut and I was able to make a fish coffin. And lots of other things, names, t-shirts, baseball team names. I mean, I've gone crazy with this device. I've actually made signs for the school to say stay off the grass. And meanwhile I'm back at the ranch in Texas. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of fun stuff. Now, okay, so I've already gone and tested this out once. That's my test file. But let's go ahead and do this one more time. I'm going to create a new project. And I'm going to go ahead and say upload. And I'm going to go find that file that I just created. So I'll browse for it. And I'll come over here, and there's the test one. And here, it looks like a web browser file, because basically it is. It's Chrome HTML document. But it's an HTML document that uses simple vector graphics. So I'll click on that, hit open. Now it'll come up and bring the file up and ask me some questions like, what do you want to call it? Well, that's a pretty good name there. And I'll say Florida, got to capitalize Florida, T-shirt. And this is something so you can understand what project you worked on. And I'm just going to say class shirt example. Okay, that'll work. So we'll go ahead and hit that, hit save. And it's going to go ahead and bring up and see, there it is, the one I just created. I'll select on it. And at this point in time, I can go ahead and say insert image. So it's going to go and insert the image directly into the project that I had, which is perfect. Now, you notice that there's something kind of anomaly out here. Sometimes it's not always quite perfect, but that's okay. You see that black spot right there? That's for the O, where the O is. I'll fix that. I'll come over here and I'll select the color. I'll go to white. Fixed. Done. Okay. Now let's save that file one more time, and we're going to say class example. Got to learn to spell right. Class example of Florida, capital F, R-I-D-A T-shirt. All right. Okay, we'll give it that. We'll go ahead and hit save. So now we got it. Now the next critical step once we save our file is, you notice down here there's this it's like a paper clip down here. It's a real important command. It used to frustrate me immensely. So this is the upper left-hand corner of the Cricut Maker, this 0 right here. Now it kind of goes really close to 4. So what I'll do is cut out my Cricut vinyl that I'm going to use to make my t-shirt to 4.5. Don't want to waste it because stuff's expensive. So I'll go ahead and set it to 4.5. But for right now this looks good. But I'm going to do a Control A to select it all and come down here and see where it says attach. That really means graphic groups. I'll select that. So now once that's done, I'll save my file again. Just say hit save. You'll see a blue thing come flashing across here. There it is. It saved the file. Well, we're ready to start working on the shirt. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop now and get all set up on the Cricut, and we'll come back to this in a little bit. All right, one of the things that's always kind of frustrating is that, by the way, I went ahead and turned off my bright pad. It's pretty bright, so if you turn it on, you can see how bright it is. So I went ahead and turned it off so that way it doesn't have a problem with the video. Now, when you're creating an iron-on shirt, the important thing is with iron-on vinyl, you got a dull side and you got a shiny side. Shiny side always goes face down. Again, my Cricut pad here is kind of gross, so I need to get it cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and put it down. I've got some tape here just to help me make sure it adheres. Now, there's obviously some kind of thing. Oh, it's another piece of tape that's sticking up here. So you want to get all that kind of stuff cleaned off ahead of time as best as you possibly can. So I'll just take that off and put it here, and I'll go ahead and turn that back off again and take this down. So I've got it down. It's holding actually pretty well. Now I'll go ahead and get the Cricut warmed up itself, like it needs to warm up. But I'll get it turned on, so we'll get that ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and put some extra tape down to kind of hold this down a little bit, because again, this pad is dirty and I need to get a new one and get this one cleaned up. So I just put some tape right down here on the edge so it'll be held down. And because you don't want to be right in the middle of trying to cut something with this vinyl and it comes right up. Let me get a little piece of scissors here to kind of hold this down with a little less tape, and I'll put it down right on that very edge. So all 4 corners of this is taped down. Again, get your clean pad and get a solution that actually cleans the pad pretty well. Alright, once I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and come up here and push this in, and I'll just hold it there snugly in place, and then I'll come back to this and show you how to load it up and get that ready to go. This is one way in which you can kind of get it set up and ready to go. I got that turned on. So, back to you in a minute. Alright, as you can see over here, we've got our design already queued up, and the Cricut's saying, hey, let's load me up, let's get going, and let's make something. So you see the little C button here flashing. It's telling you, hey, load me up, I'm ready to go. So I'll go ahead and hit accept, and what will happen now is the Cricut's going to load this in, it's going to register the knife. I don't have anything else loaded in it, so it's going to check this out. Now I'm going to be careful that this thing is ready to go. Now see, it's messed up, so I'm going to go ahead and hit pause here and stop it, and I'll go ahead and eject that, send this out here, and I'll restart the process. My bad. So give me a moment here. I'll get back on my computer. This happens, you know, so you have to kind of work around it. I guess it's kind of good that you see that it happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel right here, and it says, are you sure you want to cancel the cut? Yes, I do. Again, get a clean pad, so this makes it a lot easier. So I'll go back and I'll say make it again, and I'll make sure this is all set up. I'll go back and I'll mirror the design, and I'll say continue. And it's going to go out there and tell the Cricut, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm going to select iron on again, and it says, if you can see right here now, I was kind of got ahead of myself. It's got the load button here, so I'll go ahead and load this. So hopefully it'll register correctly this time. Looks like it did. I'll go ahead and hit the C to cut it out. Yeah, it looks like it's cutting it out right now. It's actually cutting out the state image, and you can see over here on the screen it's at 17%. You'll see it kind of periodically jump around and complete that. But so far this looks pretty good. Now, once it's finished cutting out, we'll remove the tape, we'll put it back here on the bright pad, and we're going to use our weeding tools to weed out all the unnecessary vinyl that we're not going to use to iron on the shirt. Wow, looks like it's finished. So I'll go ahead and unload this and bring it out. Take a look at it here. Looks like it cut it out from what I can tell. Yeah, it did. It cut it out okay. So let's go ahead now and tell the Cricut software that we're finished. And now we're finished, and it turns the load light off, and we're able to go ahead and start the weeding process. We'll come back to this in a moment. All right, what we need to do now is we need to go ahead and remove the vinyl from the board right here, and Cricut provides some really nice tools to expedite the process quite nicely. Like this is a scraping tool, or lifting tool, whatever you want to call it, and it does get the material off the pad pretty easily. And since I got tape on there, I really need to use that. The other thing that the Cricut does, I think that's really nice, is that, let me set this over here to the side, because I know I have another piece of tape right there, because I want to do this actually design twice. And I'll peel that tape all the way up, and I'll put it in one location so I'll know where it's at, and I'll remove it later. So that looks pretty good. Now, you can always kind of look in the light, and you can see other mats, bits of tape on your pad. Now, I had a student that told me his mother does a lot of work with Cricut, and I have a fellow coworker at the high school I teach at here in Bradenton that has 4 Cricut machines. She's considered the Cricut diva, I guess you want to call her. She's an awesome lady, and she has all kind of cool techniques. I'm going to try to pick her brain on the better solutions. Okay, so now I'll turn the bright pad on. Now, what's cool about the bright pad is you can turn it down, so you don't want it too bright. It's kind of annoying, so you can kind of turn that down as well. I got some tape there. I'm going to go ahead and put this over here, and I'll kind of, let's see, where is it at? Okay, yeah, okay, it's kind of backwards here. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this down, as you can see, and I'll grab my, these are tweezers that are really nice, and I do have this like a pick tool. They call it a weeding tool. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll just leave it at that. So actually, what I need to do now is, yeah, you weed from the back side, because this shiny side is the film that the iron or the Easy Press goes on top of. I use an Easy Press instead of a regular iron, and it goes on to. So that is quite nice. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start picking this off. And I kind of go from one side to the other to try to work this process a little easier. So once I got it going, I'll use the weeding tool to kind of hold it down, and I'll use my finger, and I'll start pulling across here. You want to try to do this in an even process in case your knife is a little bit dull on your Cricut, so you don't accidentally ruin a good piece of vinyl. So I'll pull this off here, set this over here in my tape pile, and just keep working this off. Now, it's nice on this vinyl from Cricut is that it has kind of an adhesive feel to it, so that when you lay it on the shirt, when you're actually ironing it, it goes down really nicely, holds in place as you're trying to do that. Let's see here. Yeah, I've got a long ways to go. Let me get back over here. And I should, there's the Panhandle of Florida, backwards, of course. And
I'll just keep peeling across here gently. There's the H for the home. And let's kind of, now what I'll do is kind of come up from this edge here. I hope you can see this because my hand's in the way. I'll try to move my hand down here. And I'll start coming up this way. There's another piece of tape I got to remove. Put that in my tape pile. Come up, yeah, there's the lower part of Florida, the Everglades, I guess. And I'm going to start pulling this up a little bit, gently. There's the E. And then there's the top of Florida. I guess you call that Jacksonville area. You live here in Florida long enough, you kind of get to know the area pretty well. Okay, so that's all off. So now what's left to do is to come in here and weed out these areas that I don't want. You kind of want to go to the center of the piece you want to weed out, so that way you don't destroy or damage any of the good vinyl. I'm going to put that back over in my pile of tape. Any of this excess. There's a piece right here I want to lift up. Well, it's kind of hard to get it with that, so I'm going to use my tweezers here. Cricut's tools, to me, they're almost like surgical instruments. They make a really, really quality product. Now, I know some people like Silhouettes or they like other kind of machines, but I have to be honest. This is my 4th Cricut Maker that I purchased. I purchased 2 for my school. I bought my daughter one. She uses it, and I'm just totally impressed with the technology, and also the fact that you can actually design on your iPhone or your Android. They have apps out there. I don't know about Android, but I do have an iPhone, and you can actually design on your shirt as well. Wow, that looks pretty awesome. So there's our design. You can kind of see it right there, and I'll take this tape off because I don't want that to go on my shirt. But yeah, Cricut makes a very, very quality product. I'm very impressed with a company out of Utah, which I spent a lot of time in Utah in my past. Great people out there, awesome folks, and but they produce a really, really quality product. I think they're based in the Provo area, if I'm not mistaken, around I think where BYU is, Brigham Young University, in that area of the state. Great place to be. So as you can see, we've got our design, and now I'm going to adjust the camera around and get it set up so we can put on a shirt. Now I'm using a practice shirt first because I've already messed up 2 really good ones because I didn't place it right. But I'll show you a technique how to fix the placement on your shirt. Mine I put too far to the left, which is kind of stupid, but I'm going to show you a way in which you can put it where you actually want it. So anyway, we'll stop right now.